Ladies and gentlemen, the cramming is real and it's becoming more difficult to make AFL videos within consecutive times. Making results and predictions video have become even more harder. But the show must go on, and I will do my absolute due diligence to try and give the content that I think that you guys would want to see at a very regular basis. So we have the AFL round 9 that just finished now, and it's going to be difficult to make an AFL round 10 prediction, but we are going to do it, and there's only way we can do it is to watch the videos. So without further ado, let's get into it. What's up, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show. Welcome back to another video. This is going to be an AFL Round 9 predictions video where we go through all of the games that happen in Round 9. We give you the score and we go based on what my predictions are, and we see how many I got right and how many I got wrong. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. Turn notifications on. Let me know in the comments below if I predicted your team to win, and also let me know in the comments below if your team did win. Without further ado, let's get into it. It's going to be a good time in AFL Round 9. There were some exciting games and some very good surprises going in the way of the AFL this round, and we're going to discuss it. There's been a couple of thrashings as well, to be quite fair. Well, let's just get into it. The first game we could talk about is Western Bulldogs versus Richmond. Now, I predicted the Western Bulldogs to win this game because I just thought this would be so close, but the attacking force of Western Bulldogs will get them over the line. And I regret to say that I deserve to eat some humble pie for that one, because that was an abysmal performance by the Western Bulldogs and Richmond did win, so count that as the first loss for me. I am on the board with a very poor start. And in the end, Richmond, we've complained about them scoring goals. We were complained about them getting opportunities. Well, in this game, they had 13 goals and 12 behinds to Western Bulldogs 7-7. I think Western Bulldogs were dominated all around the park, and I think Bulldogs fans probably have a right to be angry with that performance. You expect so much better out of a team that is projected to make the top 8, potentially even further than that. And I'm sure the fans have that ambition. I'm sure the players have that ambition. But at the moment, with that performance, that ambition seems to be long gone. Now, I don't know if it's just a one-game performance. I feel like the Western Bulldogs are so inconsistent. But moving on to Richmond, I think this is a very big performance for them, because we're finally seeing Richmond actually play at their fully best. I think this was probably the best game Richmond have had, not only because they versed a decent side of Western Bulldogs, but they've created a lot of opportunities, creating more than 20 opportunities on goal. And that gets you wins, man. That does get you wins. And especially when you have more goals than behinds, you get those wins, man. And I'm surprised that they won by this much. They probably could have won by more. So I think Richmond had a fair go at this, and I think they deserve the win all the same. Going into the next performance, and this one breaks my heart. Always breaks my heart, man. Port Adelaide versus the Melbourne Demons. I predicted Port Adelaide to win this game, so I guess that counts as a win for me. But I'll say it every week, I'm a Melbourne Demons fan, and talking as a Melbourne Demons fan, I've never been so disappointed in my team for the entire time I've been a Melbourne supporter. That's how I felt. I understand last year we were second last on the ladder, and we probably didn't deserve to be, but we was that bad that we were. But to be honest, I see something different in this team. I see this team being something special deep down the line, but they never ever seem to reach their potential, Melbourne. No matter how good their teams become over the past few years, they never reach their potential. And I feel like this is going to be a very similar process. Now, I could talk about the tactics of Simon Goodwin. I could talk about the tactics that we performed, having 3 talls in the forward line and 1 small, with Pickett barely playing, Brayshaw barely playing, our midfield got outworked. I could talk about everything. I could talk about Simon Goodwin needs to leave. All of these things I agree with, and I probably should talk about. But the one thing that pisses me off more than any sort of tactical influence is that when you think of the Melbourne Demons, the last thing you should be expecting is lack of effort. You have that team that's that young, that's that dominant around the ball. That midfield is second to none in work ethic. The forward line works hard. Forward line pressure over the past few weeks has been astronomical. But then you go to this game, and I think the main reason we lost by the way that we did was lack of work ethic. And I would never ever question Melbourne Demons' work ethic until now. that was probably the worst performance I've seen. And that's why, because you expect better. I expected better from this game. Did I expect us to win? I came in confident, but I didn't expect us to win. Otherwise, I would have picked them. But I expected better than what we got. And I think Melbourne fans and Melbourne players should be very disappointed at what they saw and what they produced. And even a win against Adelaide is not going to really get this out of our heads if we do beat Adelaide next round. Because seriously, that is the top team. That is the top team, and we took it to Brisbane like no one took it to Brisbane in this season. That we go and do that, unacceptable on Melbourne's behalf, and they already know this. We saw Stephen May speak out. Everybody from Melbourne's side, including myself, know what a devastating performance that was, and that's going to ruin our confidence going into the rest of the season. Now we need to build ourselves up again, and hopefully this potential that we all crave about, we all talk about at Melbourne, will start to prove itself once again. But until that happens, I'm not expecting much out of this season, and I'm probably not going to expect anything out of Melbourne until next season. So let's see where things go. Enough about Melbourne. About 3 minutes I've been talking about them, but we don't need to go any further. Going into the next game of the round, we've got Hawthorn versus Carlton. Now, Carlton. I expected Carlton to win this game, and they did not win this game at all. Again, another thrashing. There's 3 thrashings in a row, to be fair. Now, 30 points is not, I wouldn't say it's a thrashing, but it's definitely a very good scoreline for Hawthorn. And that's another loss on the table for me. The one thing I can say about Carlton is that they've had a good run of form. So as a team as young as that, you can expect losses here and there, but losing to Hawthorn, who are in bad form, arguably the Hawthorn is a better team if they both had this on the same playing level. I think that showed, but realistically I think Carlton probably should have made this a little bit closer. I think Hawthorn, finally, we saw something out of Hawthorn, man. The thing I've seen about Hawthorn, I mean, I know what people say about Hawthorn. It looks like they're not going to make the 8. I don't think they're going to come close, but you never know. Things can change. But the thing with Hawthorn is they've been sitting down and allowing teams to run through them. And finally, after 4 or 5 rounds of losing, they finally stood up to the fight and they took it to a team like Carlton, who could potentially make the top 8. And I think, in my opinion, are one of the best young teams that we've seen in the AFL for quite some time. So in the end, for Hawthorn, this is a great win for them. And I see this being a confidence booster for them going forward. But now they have a bye next week, so this could potentially be damaging for their momentum. And Carlton will have a week to retaliate, recuperate, and think about how badly they lost. And they could come back firing next week. We'll see who they have in round 11, because round 10, they're not playing either. But that's a fantastic win for Hawthorn. And honestly, it's probably well-deserved, man. They've been waiting for this for a long time, and they finally got it. The next game we could talk about is the Essendon Bombers versus the Brisbane Lions. Now, from losing ways to winning ways, we go back on the winning column here because I predicted Brisbane to win, and they absolutely won, and they won in very convincing fashion, 91-28. 3 goals, 10 for Essendon. You expect a lot better from a football side. 91 for Brisbane, obviously being very consistent. Brisbane are, they tended to dominate the game. I said that this game would be a runaway, and it was a runaway. It was a runaway by far. But Essendon, in my opinion, needed to do a lot better. Now, I didn't watch this game, so I can't tell you if Essendon were ever in the contest. But one thing I can tell you is 3 goals and 10 behinds will never win you an AFL game. Absolutely not. So you expect better, you expect more, and deep down the line, Essendon are going to have to recuperate from this, and we're going to have to see what they do, man, because that is a very, very poor performance on their behalf, and Brisbane do what Brisbane does, man. They always seem to find a way to win. Controversy or not, tough teams or not, I think Brisbane are the best team in the AFL, and they're showing it week in and week out. Going into the next game, North Melbourne versus Adelaide. Now, Adelaide, last week or this week could have been the time I picked you guys to win a game, and I went against you, and I was proven right. North Melbourne, I predicted to win this game, and they won in convincing fashion, 119-50. Well done to North Melbourne. So, look, These is bottom filter teams at the moment when you're looking at North Melbourne and Adelaide. But arguably North Melbourne should not be where they are, because they have the roster to actually go and compete against bigger teams, at least against middle pack teams. But the thing is, they've lost to very, very, very easy teams, and they probably could have won. And not only that, they've lost by so much that even by percentage, they'll probably be second last if they were tied with Sydney. So, look, I think North Melbourne rightfully deserve to win this game. Of course, 19 goals and 5 behinds. Very, very tough to question their goal percentage in this one. I just hope to see more consistent performances out of them. Now, will we see that? Only time's going to tell, man, because I think North Melbourne could be dangerous if they actually could get some fight in them. Because I think the quality, it's there in spades, but their work ethic is something that should always be there, and we don't see it enough. And I think North Melbourne, I said this many, many weeks ago, and I'm going to say it again. If North Melbourne fight for every game, they can win almost all of them. Because the quality's not there, but the fight should be. And I never, ever see North Melbourne give fight on a consistent basis, and that's why they lose so often by so much. But I'm very proud of them for this win, don't get me wrong. I think they fully deserve the win. And to be honest, it's a great victory. Going into the next game, St Kilda versus Sydney, we've got yet another thrashing. My goodness, all these teams have been just thrashing each other left, right and centre. So, the scoreline for this one was St Kilda 101 to Sydney 48. Now, I predicted the Saints to win, and the Saints won in very convincing fashion. Now, the problem with the Saints is, after a fantastic performance last week, they built it up against Sydney. But Sydney, in my opinion, is just a stepping stone. But yet again, St Kilda continue their confidence and their dominance around the AFL as they are making very big headway and making some noise in this competition. Now, until they verse a better team than Sydney, and they do this to a better team, I know Port Adelaide is just one game. So if they could do this to another team that's arguably better than a Sydney, then we can fully hear what St Kilda have to say, and anything they say is probably believable. But just for this game solely, I do think it's just a pretty straightforward professional performance from St Kilda. Did what they were supposed to do, and they fully deserved the victory. Next up, West Coast versus the Geelong Cats. The Geelong Cats and West Coast. I basically got this game spot on. Now, what I said in the predictions video, if you haven't checked it out, you need to go check it, because you'll know that I'm not lying in any of the predictions that I made. I said that West Coast will win this game, but they will not destroy Geelong. In fact, this is going to be a very, very close game. And the reason why is I think Geelong can match up to West Coast, and I think that they can provide a better fight, because there's no drama around Geelong's club compared to Collingwood, because there's drama left, right and centre on their side. So, in saying that, I think this has been a very good performance from West Coast, because they kept, I know it's in Perth again, they kept a fantastic style of play. They beat a very good team in convincing fashion. I know it's 9 points, arguably a good game for both teams, but in a game like this, when you know there are two great teams fighting, winning by 9 is a great result for West Coast in my opinion, and it's another win on the scoreboard for me, as I'm killing it right now. And of course, West Coast have done me proud again. Like I said, I love West Coast when they play well. Honestly, I do. As a Melbourne fan, I probably shouldn't like West Coast, but when I see them play, man, and they play really well, it's one of the most entertaining pieces of football you can watch. And Geelong did play their part too. So fair play to both teams on a great game. Probably the game of the round if you're looking for scoreline and actually excitement and being close. But despite that, I thought this was a good win for West Coast. Now, going into the next game, we've got the GWS Giants versus Gold Coast, and we add another win. Now, judging by the ladder, you people would say Gold Coast was going to win this game, but GWS, in my opinion, had the better team. And that's why I predicted them to win, and they did win in very convincing fashion. So 61-35 was the scoreline for GWS. Again, I didn't really have much to say in the process of predicting this team, and I don't really have much to say when it comes to the results of this team. I just think GWS are a better team overall, and that's why they won the game. Now, Gold Coast, again, I could talk about injuries. I could give a lot of excuses to Gold Coast, to be fair. But, again, I think we may have overhyped Gold Coast. Even myself, I'm pretty sure I've done it. I remember saying that Gold Coast could make the 8 and all this, and maybe that's still true, but if you're being realistic, they've been losing to a lot of teams they probably should be losing to. They're not bottom filter anymore, and I think that's the best thing for them. I said if they finished beyond the bottom 2, they would have had a fantastic season, and I'm going to stand by that. If they finish beyond the bottom 2, they're going to have a fantastic season, and it looks like, judging by this, they're already going to have a fantastic season. Last but not least, we had Fremantle versus Collingwood. Now, as of this recording, this game literally just finished, and it was very, very tight from the start to the finish, but Fremantle ended up getting the victory over the Collingwood Magpies, and that is definitely a loss for me. I did not see that coming in a million years. But Fremantle, to be fair, had dominated the entire game pretty much. They were up the whole game, but Collingwood came back into it in the third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, when it was all holding on, the entire process of trying to come back, they came this close. There were 6 points to the good to get a draw, but Fremantle in the last dying seconds got a free kick and scored their goal to win by, I believe it was 12 points. So there you go. Fremantle are the winners, and I have taken another loss. So that total tally leads up to 6 victories and 3 losses out of the predictions that I've gotten. Now, I don't know exactly the number overall, but if I remember, I will put it in now. Also, here is the ladder. The ladder is pretty interesting, as you would say. I probably should have not put it in now, but there it is. It's just a bit weird, you know. Like, some teams you expect to be in there, some teams are in there that you never expected to be in there. It's all weird, but we're starting to finally see, again, I say it every week, we're getting closer and closer to the teams that are going to be locked in there. So it's going to be interesting to see. Maybe teams are starting to finally think about finals footy. Regardless, let's not get into that at the moment. Let's go into the winners and the losers of the week. Now, this has gone in my head for a long time. After just seeing the Fremantle-Collingwood game, I'm not going to give it to any of them because I thought both teams played tremendously well. The winners I'm definitely going to give to North Melbourne, because North Melbourne by far and away has the better score in the AFL this round. Also, you had door return, which is a very, very big thing for them. And overall, it's been a fantastic week for North Melbourne, and they're my winners of the round. Going to the losers of the round, man, I could think of a bunch of losers, but I'm going to pick, as much as Melbourne probably deserves it, I am going to pick Essendon. The reason why I'm picking Essendon is because 3 goals and 10 behinds is not good enough under any circumstance. And again, it's one of those score lines you would predict from under 12 games. At least Melbourne had a decent amount of shots on goal compared to Essendon's misses. So you kind of expect better. Essendon, they're just up and down, aren't they? So I'm not surprised they got losers of the week, but in my opinion, they're definitely the rightful losers of this week. So that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. Turn notifications on. I will see you guys in the round 10 predictions, which will be out very, very shortly if it isn't already out right now. Have a wonderful and safe day. Take care and peace.